Hi everyone. I really hope you can hear my voice. Am I audible? I think I'm audible. Okay. So we are going to start the event. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ayesha. I'm the founder of Goddess and I, and also the executive director. I am honored to be given the opportunity to moderate this very first international seminar held by Imbang Diri team. So thank you so much, Imbang Diri, for having me. I really hope we can learn something from this event also, and I also hope we can change stigmas towards mental health in our society. So first, before the event starts, I would like to introduce a bit about Goddess Denai. We are a youth-led organization focusing on matters related to international relations. So if you want to find out more about Goddess Denai, you can search at Goddess Denai on Instagram. Okay, so this event is held by Imbang Diri team in collaboration with Goras Danai and ISMKI Nasional. Thank you so much to our media partners, Kata Jiwa, Peduli Jiwa, Halo Jiwa, Sayang Jiwa, Sehat Jiwa, Info Seminar Online, Satu Bicara, UI MUN Club, Meniscus, Payung Jiwa, Garis Memulai, Psychology Event, Save Your Mental, Feel You, Psikologi Peduli, Ruang Ide, Bincang Pemuda, Love Yourself, Bahagia Bertumbuh, ISMKI, and also Goddess Denai. Okay. So, so Putri will be start screen sharing with us because we want to introduce our upcoming event. We will wait for her. Okay. Okay, it's still loading. Okay, so here's Goddess Denai on Instagram. You can find it if you want to find out more about our community. So we have the mentorship program, and we also conduct like an Insta live, and we also have podcasts, and yeah, you can try to find Goddess Denai on Instagram if you are curious to find about it. Okay, so okay. Okay, all right. After this, we will be waiting for Imbang Diri team to start to screen sharing about their upcoming event, but we will wait for the host. Okay. Okay, Putri, can you move to the upcoming event of Imbang Diri because I'd like to introduce, the share with us batch 3. So we will wait for her. Yeah. All right. I think we will wait for Putri. Okay, so so just a quick brief. Imbang Diri have the upcoming event, which is Share with Us Batch 3 with a topic of bye-bye insecurity. They will have Anastasia Satrio, a psychologist, and also Putri Novita. Yeah, Putri is starting. Yeah, so this is the event that I've been talking. I would also like to remind you guys to also sign up to this event. This is happening on June 19 on Friday, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. So Imbang Diri will talk about bye-bye insecurity with the psychologist and also Putri Novita as a podcast and video manager of Imbang Diri. Okay, so don't forget to also sign up to this event. Okay, all right. So I think we'll start our event soon. We will have our first speaker. Thank you, Putri, for the sharing screen. Okay, so thank you, Putri, for the sharing screen. We will now move on to the first speaker. All right. Can we move? Can we move? We will wait for the host. Okay, I think we should move to our very first speaker. Okay. Okay, so okay. Putri, maybe you can stop the screen sharing because we will start our event very soon. So thank you so much for the poster. Oh, all right. Okay, so before the event starts, I would like to remind all of you to, if you guys want to ask a question to our speakers, you can use the raise hand feature on Zoom, or just text your questions by chat on via Telegram or WhatsApp group. And you can use both Indonesian or English. Feel free to use both languages, and I'll be very happy to help you to translate it. This event also provides you a certificate, which you can earn at the end of this program. So don't forget to approach Imbang Diri for earning your certificate. Okay, so we shall move to our newest segment, which is our first speaker. For our first speaker, I would like to present you I Gusti Ayu Agung Diaharini from Indonesia, also known as Dia. She is a medical student at Udayana University, Bali, National Coordinator of International Affairs Indonesian Medical Student Executive Boards Associations, or ISMKI. She is also the head of the Funding and External Relations Division of Volunteer Doctors Bali. Okay, so we will wait for her. Hi, Dia. Can you turn on your mic and say hello so I can hear you, so we can identify your presence? Hi, Dia.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
How are you doing
quarantine?
Yeah. Okay, so Dia will be presenting us with your presentation, right? With your slides. So, yes. Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay.
Okay, the floor is yours. So we will wait for her to do a screen sharing. All right. Okay, so, all right. Dia, maybe you can unmute your microphone so we can hear you clearly. Okay, we'll wait for her for a second.
Hello?
Yes. Is there any problem?
Sorry, but I can screen sharing.
We can view your screen sharing. Oh, yeah. Oh, but
it's disabled.
It's disabled.
Screen sharing.
Okay, wait. So we'll ask Imbang Diri team for this technical difficulties.
Okay, wait a moment.
Maybe we can have a little chit chat. Dia, are you in Bali right now or in Jakarta?
I'm in Bali right now.
Oh, you're in Bali, yeah. Had some technical difficulties with Dia, so she couldn't join us right now. So is it okay if we have the first session with you now?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great.
No
How are you?
problems.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I've been doing good despite all this pandemic.
I know. How
Yeah,
is it with
exactly.
you guys
Sorry.
over there? How is it with you guys over
Oh,
there?
um, hi guys.
Because I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but it's like that's why I have like this puffy morning face. Because I
I
just
see.
up and you guys all look great. And I think you probably, because you have already spent the day, but I have
Um,
like this puffy morning face. Like I
yeah,
just
me too.
got out of bed and I'm like, drinking my morning coffee. So I'm just letting you know why. But that's just because I just woke up because it's morning here. So
Yeah.
that's why. Just letting you
Okay.
know. Letting you know. That's it.
That's very interesting. That's actually very interesting. I think that is what everyone does during this pandemic. So, okay. So, I will introduce you to the participants. So, Bruno Gumerado. I'm so sorry if I pronounce your name wrong.
Oh, you're good. Don't
Oh,
worry.
okay. Okay, thank you so much. He channels his interests, especially in education and the young people, by conducting and volunteering to several projects such as Project Footprints, With Hope, and New Delhi, India in 2018. Also, he is also a teacher for the special kids, for the special needs kids. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I think you're very interesting. I mean, like seeing your resumes,
Thank
you're
you.
very wow. I'm amazed. So, so you have slides for us, or
Yeah, I think, well, I didn't really have time to prepare a lot because I really got like this last week was just,
yeah,
and then Insira, she was helping me to prepare some of the slides. So I
yes,
sent her a few pictures. So I'm seeing that somebody, because I'm also not the best with technology. So
yeah,
I'm seeing somebody kind of like made some slides with the pictures that I
yeah,
sent.
I understand.
That somebody helped me to do that because I didn't really have the time to do it, but
Okay,
in me to do it. But I see that it's there, so I'm like
okay, sure.
thankful. But yeah, but
Okay,
it
then,
wasn't. Apparently, somebody did something with the pictures.
okay, all right. So,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a few questions. So we will discuss a few questions.
Sure.
Okay, so
Yeah.
since you're from Egypt and we are from Indonesia, what is your perspective on mental health in general?
Yeah. No, I'm from Brazil. Just so
I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm really sorry. You're
no,
from Brazil. You're from Brazil.
yeah,
I'm
it's
really sorry.
just
I'm so sorry.
you're good.
Many
Just because
apologize.
there
Okay,
are
okay.
other people from Egypt, and I saw that, so I was just like, just so we
Okay, from Brazil. Okay, correct me,
yeah.
please. I'm so sorry. Okay.
No, you're good.
Ah, thank
Uh,
you. Okay.
what was the question? So,
I, yeah, so the question is your perspective on mental health in general.
uh, I think, well, I think it's just usually like, I think it's mostly around the globe and it's
Okay.
what I usually see. And I think it's kind of like a common understanding is that there is so much stigma over it. And I think there is so little um, like safe space for us to talk about it. Like there's so much stigma and it's always like so much taboo over mental health. And if you mention like you have gone through like depression or if you're going through depression, it's like you have to keep that under like a blanket or like you can't really talk about it or you have to keep that like a secret, which, you know, ironically just makes it worse because it's like I feel like the less you talk about it, the worse it gets because you know, I think you need to air out your, you know, your anguish and your feelings. I think the more you talk about it, the more you ventilate, the more you share it with the people that you trust, and especially with like a specialist, like a doctor or a psychiatrist, the better it gets. So I feel like it's mostly very stigmatized. And I think we need to talk more about it. And the more we talk about it, and the more safer and the more we find safer spaces to talk about it, then I feel like it's going to be easier to tackle the issue. I feel. I think you're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Now I can, yeah.
Yeah, because the host muted me.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
so
thought
I can unmute myself. I was so confused. Okay, that's very interesting. I kind of agree with some of your points that you've stated before. And how is
Yeah.
actually the mental health stigma affecting people with mental illness in Brazil?
Oh, wait, can you just tell me that again?
Okay.
Especially in Brazil, did you say?
Okay, how is the mental health stigma affecting people with mental illness in Brazil?
Um, in Brazil, I feel like it's a little bit like that. I feel like there are, for example, I feel like in schools, I feel like there are like places and places. I feel like there are schools that are more open to it. I feel like there are schools that are more prone to, well, since I am an educator, I feel like there are schools that have like more of a, like an eye to the student as a person, like pay attention to how the student is developing as a person, like as a human being. And there are schools that kind of mainly pay attention to the student as like kind of a machine, and how that machine is going to develop, as in how it's going to perform in tests. And that's for exams, and that's really not the education that I believe in. So I really much more on the direction of how, like, the education that I would like vote for would be one that focus on the human being kind of focus. So I think that's a lot healthier, because when you're focusing on the human person, then you see, you know, all kinds of development, and you're seeing like how they're developing, you know, if they're developing any kind of unhealthy trait of personality, or of like, be it depression, or if they're kind of, you know, becoming a little bit more, you know, lonely or aggressive. And if you can kind of see if they're having some kind of trouble at home, or you can see if they're handling it well, their social spheres in school. There's so much that you can see if you're paying attention to them as a person. Why you can't really do that if you're just, you know, treating them as performing machines to do well in tests. So I feel like, you know, there are schools that really focus on the students as human beings, and I think those do well with giving space to students and do counseling and help them to like express themselves if they're not feeling okay, or show their feelings. But I think it gets worse when it's like the workspace, because then I think there you are expected to just perform and not really show like if you're doing well or if you're not doing well. I think you're just expected to go there, perform your work, and leave. I don't think you're expected to go there and tell people how you're feeling, which is, for me wrong because you spend so much time mostly in your workplace. So I think you were supposed to have as well a look at how you're feeling. So I feel like as a general view, we could do a lot better at looking at how people are doing as a whole.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's very interesting, actually. Is it common for people in Brazil to have a consultation with psychiatrists or psychologists? Is there any stigma there? Because we have the stigma here in Indonesia when
Really?
you're, oh, so how is it common in Brazil?
Yeah, like I do consultation with a psychiatrist, and
Okay.
I sometimes don't feel like right now I just said, and I'm like, there are people judging me out there. No,
Mm,
like, but I at times don't feel comfort depending on whom I'm talking to. I feel like maybe I shouldn't say this because like I am okay with it and I feel like perhaps everybody should do it because I feel like even if you're not in depression or even if you don't really need to take any meds or anything, I feel like it's a very good way to get to know yourself and get to understand like why you behave a certain way or another. But the stigma and so much like people get to assume that you're one way or the other just by the
mm,
fact that you say that you go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist or something. So just for my safety, sometimes I just choose not to say a few like I choose not to say that I go to a psychiatrist just because of my safety, because of the stigma. So I
okay.
depending if I am in a group of friends, then they probably already know. But if it's people that I don't know or if it's a workplace, then I usually won't say.
Okay, so actually here in Indonesia, we still have the stigmas. If you go to the psychiatrist or psychologist to help you, and then you'll be judged by, oh, I think you're crazy, and things like that. So
Exactly.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's really sad because a year ago I was diagnosed with psychosomatic disorder, and
Yeah.
it was really hard for me because I couldn't even talk to my friends because I was so afraid if I was being judged by
Yeah.
my closest friends. So that's actually very
Exactly.
yeah.
And I think the worst is like when you tell somebody like, oh, I have depression or I have this kind of whatever or a psychosomatic disease or something, they're like, oh, but that's just stress, or oh, that's just because you're just doing so much, or that's just like, oh, just take a shower or just sleep better. And it's like,
Yeah,
no, actually a disease, or that's actually something that deserves treatment. Sometimes you need to take a medicine. It's like
exactly.
not because I'm being just like a wussy or just like because I am too soft. Because sometimes people are just like, oh, you just need to toughen up. You just need to just like, step up a little bit, be a little bit more courageous or brave or
Yeah,
tougher. It's not. It's really a disease and it's really serious. And people sometimes just tend to go like, oh, you just need to toughen up a little. And it's not. It's really serious. And people just tend to just go like, oh, just man up a little, just toughen up a little. And it's not. And I think people just have a hard time to understand that.
yeah, exactly. So I think it's really sad. And how does the government in Brazil facilitate mental health care?
Well, we have let me just tell you guys, I am frustrated with I don't know if you know anything about what's going on with the government here in Brazil, but we have like I don't want to influentiate anything of
Okay,
your
okay, just say
with
it. Just spill
our
it. Spill it.
politics, but I am
Um,
going to give you my view, okay? But we have a very, very, very suckish president right now. And I mean, Lord, he's really bad, y'all. But
Okay.
yeah, his name is Bolsonaro. You may have heard anything about him. But we used to have like a public health system, and you would be able to go and like get free medical care and free medicines and all of that. I mean, I have gone through it, and even though it was a bit messy because it was a lot of people and not so much of an investment, so not so many doctors, so you would probably get a bit of a line to go through and some time to get to a doctor of waiting and all, but it would work. Like, it would probably take some time. But now, like, this president that we have now, he's just like a extreme right uh, party president, so he's trying to cut it all off. And but he used to have this system, so they would have this this program of assisting people for free and like handing medicine for free. So that was really good. So, but I don't really know how things are going to go from now on. So I hope it goes better. But then if not, then you have to have how do they call that? Insurance, health insurance. But badly, some of health insurance don't, which I don't understand, don't cover mental health care. Which I can't understand why, because I think it's part of the stigma that mental health is.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? And then you have to pay out of your own pocket. So it's
That's
like,
what I did. That's what I did.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
okay,
it's weird.
For nothing. So yeah, that's even worse, because then you have to pay the consultation and the medicine, which is usually not cheap at all. So yeah.
So I really hope government will pay more attention to mental health issues, because it's the same. Yeah, it's the same with physical health.
It's an absurd. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so we move from the mental health talks to your volunteering teaching experiences. As we can see from the slides, I think, oh, that's very interesting. So where were you in the first picture? With the is that camel?
That's a camel, yeah.
Oh, that's a camel. Okay, so where were you?
That was in India.
Oh,
that was
in India.
Okay. Yeah. That was I just get to see those pictures and I love them so much. That was in India, and the other two pictures were in Ethiopia.
Okay, can you tell us about what are the things that you did there in India?
Yeah. Well, I was working in India, so I worked in Delhi, and then I worked in Rajasthan, which are two neighboring states. And so in Delhi, I was working in a community, and like a very neglected community. And I was working with education, but it was kind of hard to work with education because the kids didn't really speak English. Yes. And so working with basically I was working with like ludic communication, and we were working with like helping them to have a little bit of like a fun time. And then I was helping to treat them with, lice medication, and trying to get them to have assistance from the government, and trying to get medicines for worms and lice and food, and to provide them with those basic cares, and to have a little bit of a caring look from the local government before I left. And then I would also commit to going to Rajasthan, which was the neighboring state. And then there I was working with my babies, and they were kids who had they either had HIV or they had been taken by the HIV, and
Okay, it's very sad.
they were orphaned, or they, like, their families couldn't really take care of them. So we had a very strong bond, and so we would like stay together. We would have meals together, and we would study together, go to school together. So that was like, oh God, I can't even speak about it. I love it. It was,
Okay, that's good.
yeah.
What was the biggest challenge from your experience as an activist, as a volunteer?
I think, people usually would say like, oh, you have so much like culture shock, or you will get
Oh,
there
culture shock. Okay.
so different, and you will be like, and for me, it was never, I never really had that. Uh, in India, when I got there, it was just like the heat, because I was living and I was doing a course in Scotland. And when I was there, it was winter. And then I got to India, and it was like a 50-degree, well, Celsius degree heat. So when I got there, it was just like such a difference in temperature, that I feel like my body couldn't really regulate that.
Okay.
That I had like fever every day for like a week. Then that was difficult, and so I feel like that was a bit too much. But
Okay.
that was, and in Ethiopia, I had a little bit of a tough time, uh, because we had like a with a in perspectives, we had a little bit of like a difference in points of view,
Okay.
religion-wise, but
Yes.
from the people who were running the organization, because I didn't feel like they were doing it right, because I
Okay.
feel like they were a bit too harsh, and that's not the way that I would do it. But then they were running the project, and then I was the newcomer, but I was a bit kind of like trying to change the perspective. So then it was a bit like claws out,
Yes.
but it was okay. But then that was a bit tough as well. But other than that, it was good.
It was great. Okay. So,
Yeah.
in your CV, I'm going through your CV right now. You also stated that you work for the agent for young girls who have gone through chronic trauma or extreme situations. How did you feel
Yeah.
working with them? How did you
In
feel working with them?
post. Yeah. That was also this picture that's there. We had like this project that unfortunately it got just like cut off, because like we didn't really have enough funds to go further, which made me mad, because we even had like this meeting with UNICEF. It was going very well, but we couldn't really have funds, and it makes me crazy, because it's just like we get funds for so much, and there's so much money going
Yeah.
everywhere. But then when you need funds to, just keep going on a project that keeps girls safe, and, educates people to get them out of like human traffic and, exploitment of young girls, then it's like, oh, sorry, we don't have money. And you're like, yeah, you do. But then it's like, but anyways, we would go into communities, and we would kind of like find out with the local people routes of exploitment of young girls, and we would kind of like find ways to address them before the perpetrators, and then we would get the girls, and then bring them into our center, and then help them to get an education, and then kind of like teach them a profession, and then help them to be self-sufficient, until they were able to like afford themselves and fence for themselves, um, and then help them to like build up their lives, and then they would go back into like real life. And then also do the same with like routes of human trafficking between like the Ivory Coast and what's the Burkina Faso, which is like the
Oh,
neighboring,
okay.
neighboring country. Yeah. So that's
I think
was the
that's very interesting. That's very we love hearing your experiences as well as your
Yeah.
perspectives on mental health, especially in Brazil. And I'm afraid our session has ended for your but yeah, thank you so much for your insights. Yeah, it's already 20 minutes or 25 minutes. But
Thank you guys.
we will have the question and answer session at the end of this program. So we will get back to
Awesome.
you again. Yeah, we'll get back
All
to you
right.
again. Thank you so much. So
Thank you guys for the floor. It was a
thank you.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So yeah, thank you, Bruno. So we will move to our next speakers, which is Dia. Hi, Dia. Can you hear me? Can you
Hi.
test the microphone? Okay, so
Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you. You're audible. Maybe you can turn on your video. That's very good. Maybe you can start your screen sharing. Okay, we'll wait for Dia. Okay. All right. We can see your screen. It's okay.
Can you see it?
We can see it. Yeah, we can see it clearly.
Okay. Okay. Hi guys. How are you?
Hi, Dia. We're good.
I hope you're doing great. Okay, first, let me introduce myself. My name is Igustia Yuagung Diaharini. You can call me Dia. I'm from Bali, Indonesia. And today, I want to share what I know about mental health condition in Indonesia. Okay, first, mental health refers to cognitive, behavioral, and emotional well-being, and is about how people think, feel, and behave. Okay, in Indonesia, there are various types of mental health problems, but the most common mental health problem in this country is psychosis or schizophrenia, followed by emotional mental disorder, and as you can see, the people with severe mental disorder were put in pasung or restraint or chain in past 3 months when these data were collected in 2018. And if you wonder what pasung is Indonesia looks like, this is what it looks like. And the pasung itself was done by the family of the people with mental illness. This center. It seems so pitiful, right? But not only that, people with mental health disorder is also labeled by the negative stigma. Okay. Maybe I will let you know some of them.
Dia, I think you're not audible because we can really hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, okay. It's good now.
Okay, the first is the punishment of the god. People often think that mental health conditions are a result or a sin, that these people are possessed by evil spirit or the devil. So many Indonesians still see mental disorder as a curse of the God, not in medical condition. And the next is family disgrace, which family are reluctant to speak due to the same stigma around the mental disorder. In people with suffering disorder, need a support from the surrounding, especially from the family. But what still happens now is the family itself is feeling shame to admit that the family member is suffering with mental health disorder. And next is like living in hell. Many mentally ill people are imprisoned and chained. Some of them also were found guilty physical and sexual violence, forced section and forced contraception, as well as involuntary treatment, including electroshock therapy without anesthesia. And the next, have no future, with people who are risked sometimes end up in chains again because of the lack of community support service. Once again, because of the stigma that live in their community, they can live as a normal people anymore. Maybe, yeah. So, having mental health problem often make a person get a negative stigma from the community. Mental sekali general, whose symptom can be clearly seen by others, making many people underestimate mental disorder. People who want to openly tell about the condition they experience are often considered to be seeking for attention and labeled as less religious. So, many people are at psychiatry to fear about being labeled as crazy. Indeed, can their problem isolated and having higher risk to attempt suicide. Even if they are getting help and can handle their mental condition, people won't treat them the way they were before they were diagnosed with mental illness. And actually, the stigma itself is arises because of the lack of information and education to the public. Because of the while the people have to struggle alone with their ignorance. So, what the government in Indonesia? The Republic of Indonesia is an archipelagic country that has an area of population around 271 million into consists of more than 17,000 islands, and the availability of facilities and infrastructure was great. The policy doesn't fit into the condition in each region. Management of mental disorder is still only done when the patient comes to the mental health service, hasn't that directly at the patient home. No? Okay. There are only 3 total mental health workers, like psychiatrists, mental health nurse, and psychologists per 100 so in Indonesia. Care and the care and the treatment of the person with major mental disorder included in national health insurance in Indonesia. The government itself showed its commitment to making mental health a priority by including it as one of the 12 is National Community Health Program, the Healthy Indonesia program with family approach that seeks to ensure that even the most rural, isolated, and reluctant communities get access to health service. Next, let's move to how people handle mental health issues in Indonesia. Now, there are still many people who give stigma to people who have mental disorder, but the number of people and communities who show their concern for mental health also increases. Indonesia takes steps to improve protection of mental health patients. Thanks to awareness campaign, including work by local groups such as the Indonesia Mental Health Association, the number of patients fallen from to many mental health communities are established in Indonesia, which fight for break the stigma, like educate the public that people with mental illness can return to normal life if treated immediately, suggest people who experience symptoms of mental disorder to seek help from people who are expert in this fight, provide space to talk about what is burdening them, and get support from other community members, empowering to be in community. And integrating mental health into primary health care is crucial, but it's not enough. The public education about health and provide people with psychosocial disabilities with services that extend beyond medication, including access to education, housing, and employment is needed to be done by government to eliminate stigma. And mental health is not only the government responsibility, because families, community leaders, can those who get in the concern in dealing with mental health disorder should also be involved. Within the government itself, the handling of mental disorder should also be carried out in an integrated way. Cooperation between departments should be mandatory instead of throwing responsibility at one another. And like what I've said before, the gap between the number of mental health workers and the population of Indonesia is too large. Actually, as a medical student, we have been given knowledge about mental health. If it can be used properly, the number of general practitioners can overcome this gap. So, for me, mental health is priority and not something when hear them. Okay. Next, in the current COVID-19 pandemic situation, mental health condition and treatment in Indonesia will get worse. Therefore, it is important for us to be able to maintain the condition of our mental health and those around us. Even tough, we have to follow the government's advice to implement social distancing. Don't forget to stay connected with our family and friends so that our mental health condition remains stable. Even tough, we can meet in person. Yeah. Okay. I okay. That's all I can share to you guys. I'm sorry because it's my very first webinar, so maybe I make some mistake. But
Really
I
good.
hope you got my point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dia, for the very fruitful slides. I think we can learn so much from your presentation. I think it's very good and it is very relevant to me and to the participants as well. Thank you so much once again, and we will get back to you soon because we will have the question and answer session at the end of this event. At the end of the event, I'm so sorry. And yeah, thank you so much. We will have 5-minute breaks. After that, we will go to our last session. So 5-minute break starts from now. Okay, so during this break, I would like to remind you guys to don't forget to sign up to the upcoming event by Imbang Diri, which will be going to held on June 19 at 7:30 p.m. So don't forget to check at Imbang Diri on Instagram because you will see lots of insightful and interesting events. And yeah, don't forget to sign up. Okay, so it's actually 2 minutes left for our next session, but I will introduce our next speakers, which are our next speakers are from Egypt. We have Amani Abu Ali and Bassam Katamesh. Amani is a 6th-year clinical stage medical student at Tanta University, Egypt. Tanta Student Scientific Association's local coordinator of Project Mental Health, and she is also a student union member. Batan is also a 6th-year clinical stage medical student at Tanta University, Egypt, member of Tata Student Scientific Association, member of Tata Student Research Academy, and also a professional exchange Romania. Okay, so we will wait for Amani and Basant to join us.
Okay, I'm here. Do you want me to put the camera on?
Okay, so wait.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
really good. How are you? How's the situation in Egypt?
It's okay so far, I guess.
Oh, it's okay so far. Okay, that's great then. So you guys will be presenting us with your slides about mental health in Egypt. So maybe you can start.
Okay. Are you going to be sharing the screen or should I? Thank you. Okay, so we're just going to talk about like mental health in Egypt. I first want to give you like an idea about like the situation here. Like mental health isn't actually one of like the priorities in Egypt, but it's starting to become a bigger priority than it was before. There's a lot more focus on it than there was previously. The government has actually put in place like more facilities and services to offer help for those people who need it. And so can you go to the next slide, please? Sorry, can I share my screen? No?
We are already viewing Putri's screen. So is it Putri or you guys?
Pardon?
Okay, so we'll wait. Okay. Okay, so it's your screen now.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about like the publications in Egypt regarding mental health are actually like till now, it's only 4% of publications that from Egypt are about mental health. The last of these publications was actually in 2009 when they conducted a survey and they found out that 16.93% of the participants suffered from mental disorders. First, like of which like we had the anxiety disorders and mood disorders, which were in the top two. It also showed that females in Egypt were 2 times more likely to suffer from than men, and also it showed that divorced couples were 2 times more likely than single or married people, and that people with like heart disease and cancer were 2 times more prone than people with diabetes or like liver diseases and kidney diseases. After that, in like 2015, there was another study which was on child abuse, and they found out that more than 60% of children were suffering from child abuse, and that these people were likely to go on to suffer from mental disorders and substance abuse. The most common in Egypt is tramadol because it's very cheap and it's easily obtainable. In 2017, they had a campaign here in Egypt, which was to offer health services, mental health services to people. They started off with 4 hospitals and it's currently extending. So at the moment, we have 5 of the 24 public governments in Egypt that don't have any services whatsoever regarding mental health. In 2018, there was a study that was conducted by the Ministry of Health. It showed that 25% of the population actually suffered from mental diseases. This study was actually, it was door to door, where government members, they went to the houses and they asked families to fill out a survey. Again, we have anxiety-related disorders were 43.7%, and depression and substance abuse was 30.1%. I first want to talk about the difference between stigma and discrimination, because some people usually confuse the two. Stigma is when someone sees you in a negative way, while discrimination is whether you're treated in a different way. There's also two different types of stigma. We have self-stigma and public stigma. Self-stigma is how the patient sees themselves. Public stigma is how the society or people around the patient sees them. The two main problems here in Egypt regarding stigma is that we have the religious aspect, that people here in Egypt are quite religious. So when someone suffers from a mental disease, they usually see it as that it's anger from God, or that it's a lack on their behalf, that they're not worshiping God correctly, or that like what they're doing isn't sufficient enough and isn't enough.
Basan, I'm really sorry to interrupt you, because one of our participants said that your PowerPoint slides isn't showing.
Okay.
But I can see it. So, hi Bruno, can you see the slides? Can you see the slides?
It's not like in full mode of presentation. It's like it's like partly, and then we can see like all kind of windows on the side, like the left side.
Okay, so is it okay now?
I think, Basat, if you click on like that little icon that shows, like, I don't know how to explain that little.
Yeah.
If you click on that little icon, that it's like the
So make it
presentation.
full screen. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like, I'm terrible in tech stuff, as I told you guys, because it's like, well.
But I think it's okay, because we still can see it.
But we can still see it.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Is this any better?
Well, maybe if you double click on the slide, or if you click with the right button.
I tried double clicking it, but this happened.
Okay, but okay.
Okay, you can, if you want to share the screen from your side, I don't mind.
Okay. I think it's okay, because we still can see it. Me personally, I still can see it. So
I can still see it.
Yeah. So maybe you can continue your presentation, because for me, it's personally it's okay.
I can still see it clearly. Yeah.
Okay, so it's okay, yeah?
Yeah.
That's actually okay. So I'm so sorry to interrupt you once again. So you can
No, it's fine.
Your presentation. Okay.
Okay. So as I was saying, like the main problem here in Egypt regarding stigma is that we have the religious aspect, is that people think that if you're religious enough, then you're going to be protected from any type of psychological setback. And also the lack of awareness and knowledge regarding the nature of these diseases. Like most people don't understand that these diseases are actually due to like a chemical imbalance in your brain. They don't understand that, and they can't comprehend that. So they usually blame it on the religious aspects. There's also another problem, which is that people think that like people who are psychologically disordered, or that have mental diseases, that they are actually mad and that they're crazy, or that they're trying to seek attention. Like we're going to talk about public stigma. Like I divided it in, so we're going to talk about like the patients. The stigma towards the patients themselves is that, like I said, that they're usually viewed like as if they're not religious enough, or maybe that they're possessed by evil spirits. And this is actually why 60% of people who suffer from mental disorders go to religious healers before they actually seek the help of the psychiatrist. So by the time they go to the psychiatrist, it's been probably over a year of them being treated by so-called religious healers. Another problem is that people here, they don't tend to employ those who have like mental disorders, and they think that they're dangerous, or that they're unfit for work, and that like they've so-called lost their identity. Another problem is regarding the psychiatrists is that Egyptians actually view psychiatrists as mentally unstable. They believe that psychiatrists themselves are not mentally stable. And they also think that the psychiatrists are trying to abuse them or take advantage of them, because we have a lot of like private clinics here in Egypt, and some psychiatrists actually charge a lot of money. So some people think that this is actually the psychiatrist taking advantage of them, and that the psychiatrist might later on exploit their personal information. Regarding the medication, like a lot of people have a fear of like the side effects of the medication. They think that they're going to later on they're going to be addicted or dependent on these medications. And also like in regarding like television and stuff, we have a lot of movies that show electroconvulsion therapy as its torture towards the patients. So a lot of people refuse treatment because they think that they're going to be treated with electroconvulsion therapy, and they think that this is going to be very torture. It's going to be very painful for them. So they actually don't do that. As well, here in Egypt, people can actually buy the medication without the doctor's prescription. So this actually tends to happen a lot. So some people just don't go to a psychiatrist. They try to self-medicate, and usually some people take their own medication or unnecessary medication. Again, with the psychiatrists, is that we have actually a lack of psychiatrists here in Egypt. So, like as you can see, we have 1.44 psychiatrists to every 1,000 person in the population, which is obviously like there's a severe lack in the psychiatrists. And other than that, we only 1% of health doctors actually have sufficient training in mental health. The effect of stigma, the public stigma, is that first of all, most importantly, it leads to self-stigma. The patient themselves they see themselves as that they're worthless, or there's a lot of shame and isolation, and there's a lot of self-doubt as well. And because of the lack of support from family and friends, they tend to isolate themselves, and they're reluctant to ask for help. So even here in Egypt, like when patients actually ask for help and they go to hospitals, their parents, like their family members, because they see them as they're crazy or that they're just like trying to get attention, and they actually, because of that rejection, the patients, they tend to take themselves out of the hospitals and they don't obtain the proper treatments. Also, there's less opportunities for like employment and social interactions, etc. My colleague Emily is going to continue with the presentation.
Hi everyone, can you see my screen? Can you hear me?
I think it's still on my screen.
Okay. Okay, Bassam, can I use your screen? Because I have a problem with my screen. Can I use yours?
Yeah.
Okay, the next slide. So Bassam was talking about the problem facing patients who are mentally ill, and I would like to talk about the source of those problems. Why in Egypt? What is the source of these problems mainly in Egypt? And it's mainly based in religious misconceptions. We hold religion in high regard here in Egypt, and we view that religious people are protected from any sort of setbacks, psychological setbacks. So when someone complains that he have like depression or anxiety, the first thing that comes to mind is that he's not close to God and he's not religious enough. And people view schizophrenia or bipolar disorders or personality disorders as some sort of punishment from being away from God. And unfortunately, this conception or this belief ignores the nature of mental illnesses as it is, and its biology, and that it's chemical imbalance in the brain, and it's an organic disease. And organic disease means that it's due disturbance in the body biology. And so it means that mental illness in its nature is the same as heart disease or as diabetes or as common cold that we get in winter. So if we start to view if we start to know the nature of disease, and it is the same as heart attack, you won't tell someone who has a heart attack or has a heart disease that you are not religious enough. So this is the main. This is the main problem here in Egypt, and it is the ideas that we work most on. So how people handle issues, how handle the fact that someone is mentally ill, I think it's according to the type of complaint of the patient. So if someone says that it's due to depression, or that he has depression or some sort of an anxiety, or they would say that they would tell him to man up, or stop being weak, or that you are not spiritually strong. And if someone complains that he has delusions or hallucination, which is a symptom of schizophrenia or bipolar or other mental disorders, they would, the first idea that would come to mind that he is possessed by an evil spirit. They wouldn't even think of it as a mental illness. They don't even know the definition here. They don't know the word schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. They all group it under the name madness. They would say that the person is mad, and they would think madness is actually a mental disease, which is not. Madness is some sort of short symptom to any disease. So they would, the first thing they would do would take him to a religious healer. And after months and months and religious healer after religious healer and going from one to one, they would, and there's no treatment or no improvement in the patient case, they would in the end think of going to a psychiatric after someone advises them of doing so. And unfortunately, in some cases, symptoms just worsens by the time you go to a psychiatrist, and it's hard to treat. So the main thing we have to work here in Egypt is religious misconceptions and the idea of mental health disease, and to incorporate the terms of mental illness in our day-to-day words, like bipolar and schizophrenia and so on. Our personality disorders, they have to be known by its names. So how to deal with the stigma? There are two ways to deal. Patients deal with the first way is to close on themselves and stop and not seeking any help, and not enclosing that they have some sort of illness or some sort of symptom they need help with, because they feel that they will be shamed and they wouldn't know what to do. And the other way for dealing with it, the right way, is to know that that it's perfectly normal to have some setbacks in your life and to deal with depression or anxiety. And mostly all of us had some sort of depressive episode or an anxiety in our lives. And if we don't, later on we would have some sort of depressive episode. And to believe that it's an illness like any other illness, if you need to see a doctor to treat it, and you cannot do it alone. As you cannot treat heart disease alone, you cannot treat mental illness alone. So you need the help of a doctor. And also that you are not your disease. You are not depression, you are not schizophrenia, you are not bipolar disorder. You are just a patient who is dealing with some sort of disease. And that treatment is actually very effective, and seeking help would really eliminate all those symptoms. So being alone and just not seeking help wouldn't help anyone, not you, not the society, and it would make it worse. So what are the efforts we are doing here to improve mental health conditions in Egypt, and what are the changes that happened in the last decade? What I see, and in my opinion, what I have witnessed in our society, and what happened was there is an increased talk about mental health issues, especially among youth. But the problem here is not only youth; it is elders and those who have power in their hands. And what actually was effective in reaching them was TV programs and doctors, psychiatrists appearing in TV programs and talking about different mental illnesses. And I think this is a really effective way to reach a wide range of people, and it helps a lot in adding some knowledge about mental health issues in society, in a part of society who wouldn't normally have it. Also TV series, drama. We have now drama who discusses mental illness with some accuracy, not to the point that would satisfy a doctor, but with some accuracy. There is an increase of representing mentally ill in a good way in TV drama, which is, I think, is a very, very good point and very good step right now. Also campaigns in streets and NGOs, and I would like to speak from my experience in our university. We held a campaign for mental illness to raise awareness among non-medical students and school students in 23 University of Egypt under an NGO called IFMCA, which is a medical association, association for medical students. And from my experience, it really helped, and people welcomed all this information. And I would advise, if anyone would like to see help, to see impact in his own eyes, would go down to streets and start talking to people about mental illness, and small NGOs would start having campaigns in small towns and having interaction with people and hearing their question and correcting their misconceptions about mental illness, and reaching people on the ground would really help more than just on social media, or it would, having a conversation would eliminate the misconceptions. That's from my experience. So what does the government do to facilitate to help increase the mental health conditions and improve the mental health condition in Egypt? Right now, there is a specific organization in the Ministry of Health, which is responsible for the mental health conditions in Egypt. They have a hotline for suicidal people, and a separate hotline for psychiatric consultation if someone is complaining of any sort and wants to talk with a psychiatrist, and for free. You don't pay anything, which I think is really good. Like to have a confidential conversation with a psychiatrist over the phone, it's a good step from our government. Also, there is a teen hospital in all Egypt, offering psychiatric treatment for free, or for a very small fees, and mostly for free. Also, psychiatric treatment or mental health treatments are offered for free in our insurance. We still have so much to do, but I think we are taking a good step toward improving the conditions of mental health in Egypt more. This is the end of presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Besant and Amani. I think we can learn so much from your slides, and I'm so happy that the government facilitates the suicide hotlines. And yeah, I think that's really we need it here in Indonesia. So yeah, thank you so much for the very fruitful presentation. So guys, we're now at the question and answer session. So just raise your hand using the raise hand feature. Okay, so we have 3 participants. 4, 5. Okay, relax. Okay. I will I'll choose maybe from Imbang Diri Pim would like to help me with this. Oh, there are so many people who want to ask. Wait. Okay. Okay. Maybe you can raise your hand if you want to ask questions to our speakers. We'll wait.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, sure.
Can I?
Yeah,
Hello?
sure. Just go ahead with your question.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Iksan from Depok, Indonesia.
Hi.
I have question to all. Number 1, question to Mr. Bruno. Hello, Mr. Bruno.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
Nice to see you on virtual. Yes, I have question to you. How to educate every young people in Brazil to be awareness of healthy lifestyle during pandemic COVID-19? Are there a particular program in Brazil to support young people to be awareness? Maybe like as there are community to educate young people? Thank you.
Iksan, I'm so sorry, Bruno. Iksan, maybe you can turn on your video if you want, so we can see you. Just if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you can answer.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm on the outside.
Oh, okay,
I'm not
sure.
to show my face because it's not
Sure.
so good. It's not
Okay,
good.
all right.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Ishan, can you just ask me again the second part of your question?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Like, can you just ask me again the second part of your question? Because I didn't really.
How to educate every young people in Brazil,
Right.
to be awareness.
Right.
To be awareness of healthy lifestyle during pandemic COVID-19, coronavirus disease 19.
Right.
Are there a particular program in Brazil to support young people to be awareness?
Okay. All right.
Maybe like as there are community to educate young people on there. Thank you.
Right. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the question.
Yes. Welcome.
So, right. So I think as it would be probably all around the globe, I think the biggest problem is inequality. So there are kids who get a very good education and a very good guidance in how to, well, they get protected, right? Like they get their parents to take care of them. They get like probably a nanny to take care of them. They get like, they probably don't, they are not going to school here, but they get guidance of like a lot of instruction to not, don't touch here this way, or if you do go here, take your alcohol 70% and then do wash your hands this way, or wear your mask this way, or don't get out of your house because you don't need to. So if you are a privileged kid to have all of these resources of having a family, having a stable home, having an education, then you will have this kind of support. So there is an education program for that, but problem here in Brazil, and I will say Brazil right now because that's my reality right now, but I am sure that I can say for most of our countries here and most of the world is that inequality is a reality. So there are a lot of children who, I mean, are living in horrible conditions where they have no access to masks or, I mean, soap or, you know, a stable home or a stable family or even education. So they don't really have a program of like staying home or not having contact with other people or not really, you know, getting to stay home and safe because they, you know, have the luxury to not getting contact with the virus because, you know, that's the, I don't know if you really get my point. So, I mean, if they have the privilege of going to school and, you know, or at least having online classes, they will be assisted by their teachers to take care of their health and go through the protocol of like the World Health Organization and the Ministry of Health that the country will like dictate, but there are very vulnerable layers of society that won't go to school or won't have online classes because they won't even, I mean, have computers, for example, and they won't have access to that information. Hence, they won't have access to the protocol or the information
Yes.
or the protocol of sanitation and then the health procedures.
Okay,
Does that make
enough.
sense?
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
That was a lot of words from my side. Jesus Christ.
That's a great point.
That was like a lot of words.
Okay. Who else wants to ask a question to Bruno? Maybe we can divide this Q&A sessions into 3 parts. So first, we go with Bruno's session. So who else in this conference wants to ask questions to Bruno? Maybe we can just, okay. Okay. You guys can just turn on your microphones so we can hear you and introduce yourselves. We'll wait. Okay. Is there any questions? You can turn on your microphone and just introduce.
Hi. Sorry.
hello.
Can I ask something?
Hello. Hello. Okay, I will ask for Mr. Bruno. Okay, my name is Said Maulana Ibrahim. I'm from Universitas Negeri Malang. Okay, we know that this pandemic have negative effects that can easily make health mental distractions. My question for you is, can you give solution for parents in Indonesia stressful with online curriculum study? Because, yeah, I know many people in Indonesia don't have enough money to buy internet data for education. Okay, second, many people in Indonesia don't have connection network like village in Papua and Kalimantan. Can you give suggestion for study if you don't have connection anymore in this pandemic COVID-19? That's only my question for Mr. Bruno. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Said.
But sorry, what's your name? Abraham?
Hello, can I have a question?
Okay, maybe you can, I'm so sorry because we already have our questions. So maybe you can mute yourself first.
I have a question.
Guys, can you hear me? Maybe you can mute yourself first because we already have questions for Bruno.
Okay, I will try to explain that question. I think I understood it. I think it was Abraham, your name, right? I think that was his name. Abraham, right? So
Hi, Abraham. Okay.
So
I think we're encountering some technical.
yeah.
Bruno.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I think the Abraham, the question was like how to educate when you have little resources in like the villages and the far off areas. Is that kind of like the question? How that?
Not. But the point is, many people in Indonesia, especially me, stressful. Yes, stressful in this pandemic because
Okay.
trying with online curriculum. Okay, online curriculum, especially in senior high school. That's make me
Right.
stressed to teach children in village too because they don't have connection enough in internet because
Right.
I don't live in city, I live in the village.
In the
That's
village.
my trouble. Yes, that's my
Right.
trouble in this pandemic COVID-19.
Right. So you don't really have like the connection to do your work and you're in the senior year of high school.
Especially I have connection at my home, but the trouble is my student don't have enough connection.
Right, but you're a teacher.
No, not. I am a teacher. Teaching in physics. Teacher in physics. Hello.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think you should like if you're. I think the thing is to try to answer your question the most like the broadest way that I can possibly think is that I think everybody is stressed, and I think there is no way of really not getting stressed right now. Um, to try to not get stressed, I think is impossible. I think we're all going to get stressed one way or the other. I think is to really try to find a way that you can cope with it, be it like music or be it dancing somehow or being like breathing or being with nature or your family or something like that. And about your students or about being like yourself a student or being you the teacher and you having a student or multiple students is like getting to know the reality of your students is crucial because if you know that your students don't have access to internet, it's no point for you to give an activity that needs to be done on a computer because then they are not going to be able to do it online. Then I think you should probably try to find like an option that they can do offline. Maybe like a something that can be done on paper or can be done as a performance that you can go there and watch, or you can go there and videotape, or you can go there and collect, that can be done on like recycling material, something like that, something that doesn't necessarily need to be done online, like maybe an option like that. I don't know if that helps.
Is it enough?
Hello.
Yes, Miss. Yes, hello.
Is
That's
it
enough
enough?
for me.
Okay, thank
That's
you so
enough for
much.
me.
Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much.
you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Okay, I'll choose one question. Okay,
Please
so
choose.
I'll choose. Okay, I will choose. I'm so sorry, guys. I have to choose. Even though there are still so many people who want to ask. Maybe Hanif Dinar Mufida. Hanif Dinar Mufida. You can ask your question to Bruno.
Hello.
Oh yeah. Hi.
Yeah. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, I'm sorry I can't show my face because my camera is not working.
Don't worry.
Yeah. To Bruno. Hi, Bruno. Thank you for
Hey,
sharing
yo.
your inspiring experiences.
Aw.
I'm very interested and inspired to this volunteering thing, especially to, raise awareness regarding to education and its relation to people's mental health conditions. So now I wonder, would you mind sharing about how you started your volunteering activities?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, how you started.
Of course. Can I just say one thing, Aisha, very quickly? Like, if we don't have time to, I think we won't have time to answer all of the questions. But like, if you want to contact me later through email or on Instagram and ask me later, like, I really don't care. I mean, don't mind it. Don't care sounds bad. Like, I really don't mind because I love to talk about all of these things that involve mental health and education. So if you want to contact me through email or through Instagram, please ask me there and I will be glad to answer and to do networking, and I will love to do that. So just so you guys know. Yeah, so the question, it was just after, I was doing things internationally. It was because I always felt like I started to live by myself when I was 17, because I was always like, I would never really liked my mom and dad. I'm kidding. No, I never really along with my parents. No, I love them, but I never really liked to live with my parents. That's kind of true. But then I started to live on my own at 17. And then when I finished college, I decided to do work with, I don't know if you guys heard of the Sustainable Development Goals by the UN. It's like the 30 Sustainable Development Goals that we're supposed to reach as a global effort by the year of 2030. So there's gender equality, education, quality of education. There's a multiple range of goals that we're supposed to reach to have a more sustainable globe. So through a program that's called ISAC, that's a youth effort. I don't even know if it exists anymore. So I applied for this program and I chose to work for goal number 4, which is quality of education. So I got selected, and then I paid a fee, and then I started work in India. And then from there, I applied to multiple other places, and then I got to be called to work on a place in Ethiopia, and then I flew to Ethiopia, and then from there, I would apply to another place, and then I flew to Mozambique, and then from there, I applied to another place, and then I flew to the Ivory Coast, and then it was kind of like this. I would apply, I would search for other places to work, and then I would go oh, do you need a person to work as a teacher? Or, I would find places that I would identify myself with, and oh, I like their project. Maybe they need a teacher like me. And then I would send them my resume and tell them oh, I have been doing this kind of work. Do you need this, that kind of thing? And then sometimes we would identify and they would be oh, we would be happy to have you. And then, you know, sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't, but then I would move onto something else. So it would be a lot of like putting my face out there and then seeing what happens. That was kind of like that.
Okay, that's great. But may I ask another question?
Yeah.
Okay, one last question. You have to make it brief and quick, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, sorry.
Okay. So what's the main motivation that made you think that that made you do this volunteering thing, especially in education? The main motivation.
Well, because to be quite brief, I feel like it is through education that we can, not to be poetic, but I feel like it is through education that we can effectively do change in the world. I do feel that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hanif. Thank you so much.
Hanif Dinar Mufida for okay.
Me.
Okay. I'm so sorry, guys. I think we have to move to the other speakers. So
I will put my email and Instagram on the chat. Is that okay?
Sure. Okay. Thank you so much, Bruno.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, who wants to ask a question to Basant and Amani? You can raise your hand.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, who's talking? I'm so sorry.
Hamza.
Hamza.
For Amani.
Okay, so I'm so sorry. We'll go with Hamza first. Yeah, you can ask your question to Amani and Basant.
Okay, thank you for the time.
Thank
you. First of all, I would like to say thanks for the speaker for sharing many things for tonight. I want to ask about something. Sorry, I will say that before pandemic COVID-19, I feel a problem with my sleep ability. So I feel difficult to sleep every night. And I want to know, it is have this problem is about have a correlation with health mental or not, and then during this pandemic COVID-19, I feel that I'm worrying about many things, and I always panic, and finally I feel sad because we cannot meet with friends, or we cannot meet with family, or we cannot meet with many people. So at finally I feel sad, worry, and panic about many things. I want to know that how to solve this problem, especially during this pandemic COVID-19, and maybe also to solve the problem about difficulties to sleep. I think that's all.
Okay, thank you so much. Is the question clear enough to you, Basant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi Hamza.
Hi.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
I think like the sleeping, like inability to sleep, like when you want to, and like you're feeling tired and bored and you want to meet with your friends. I think actually everyone is going through that right now. It's just because like you're not used to staying at home all the time, so it's a very different environment for you. So it takes time to adapt. But like, and you were asking how to overcome. I think the best thing is to have a schedule for yourself, to have like a plan, like, oh, I'm going to do like this and this today. And also I think like regular exercises would really help. And like regarding talking to your friends and stuff, like there's always like like right now we're doing a conference online, so you can always like talk to your friends online and like just keep yourself updated about like what's going on in the world around you. I think that will distract you a bit and it will make you less stressful because you feel like you're going back to your regular life and you're like still in contact with your friends. But I think the most important thing is to actually have a schedule for yourself. Like every day you have a plan on like what you want to achieve that day and you try to do those things.
Okay. Is that clear enough to you, Hamza?
Okay. How about the feeling worry with many people? Because usually I worry with my friends, with family, or with other people far away from me. So it's that normal for for people during this pandemic.
Yeah, it's perfectly normal right now because, like I said, it's a very different environment for everyone. Like, we're not adapted to this, and this is a situation, it's not something that you can control, it's something out of your hand. Like, you can't, it's a pandemic, it's everyone in the world, everyone is being forced to stay at home. We have no control over this. And I think that's the thing that's causing a lot of stress. But, like, for example, like, I think it's just if you stay in touch with your friends and stuff, that will relieve the stress a little bit and like try to do like different activities, maybe try to learn something new like paint, or you can do like you can meditate every day. That will help a lot with the stress as well. Like meditation is very useful right now, and exercising as well.
Okay,
Is that
so
enough?
to do something new is very help for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to keep yourself busy so like you don't have a lot of time to think, like to overthink this stuff. I think it's better to just like I said, have a schedule, have a plan for your day, and try to do those things. Like learn a new skill, you have a lot of time right now, so it's a good idea to like maybe try and learn something new, or like get in touch with old friends. So like maybe there's something you wanted to do before but you didn't have time to do it, so it's like a good opportunity right now for you to do those things. And like I said, I exercise and meditation is actually really important, especially in this period of time.
Is that okay to open the old memory with old friends and talking now?
Yeah, I think it's actually really good. It's a good distraction. Like it will keep your mind like away from what's like the chaos that's happening right now in the world. But I think it's actually a really good idea. Like very important for you to keep in touch with your friends because right now you can't see them. So it's really important for you to talk to them and to interact with them, even if it's online, even if it's just like a video call or like on the phone. It's actually very helpful and very beneficial.
Okay,
Okay.
that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much, Basant, for
Okay.
answering the
Stay
question. Thank you
healthy,
so much, Hamza.
stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I will choose from this. Maybe Reski Binunsa Mutmaina, you can ask your question. Where's Reski? Can you turn on your microphone? Reski Binunsa Mutmaina. Sorry if I pronounce your name wrong.
Okay. Hello. You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
Hi.
my question. Hi. Hello.
Yeah. I can hear you. We can see you.
My name Reski Winusa Mutmaina. You can call me Kiko. I'm from Surabaya, and I'm reading some research. There is a research that say that almost half of chronic mental disorders begin before the age of 14 years old. It happens because of the impact of exciting social media. How do we deal with problems like this, especially in Indonesia? Recently, in a criminal case, a teenager killed a toddler because he was motivated by a horror movie to watch. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, Basant and Amani, maybe you can answer the question.
Okay.
I'm really sorry. It's not very clear what the question is. Can you please repeat it?
Hello.
Yeah.
My question is that's almost half of chronic mental disorders begin before the age of 14 years old. It happens because of the impact of exciting social media. How do we deal with problems like this?
Thank you. Did you get the question?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got the question, and I think it's really a good point, and it's something that it's a challenge we face right now. The increase of mental health issues in teenagers and those who are below 10 or things like this. I think it's a challenge of the modern life right now and social media, and we cannot unface it, and we cannot deal with it, or we cannot protect our children from it. If he is in this, in this society, if he uses social media, it's most likely he might deal with a negative self-image or an anxiety or things like this. And I think it's the role of the parents to monitor the children and to be aware of any change with happens with their children, and if there's some sort of negative self-image or some sort of negative effect that social media use. You cannot change social media. You cannot change what they see. If I think it begins with monitoring. They are children, and they must not be left alone using social media without knowing what they see and what they encounter. I could say for a good solution would be we as adults changing what we write on our social media accounts and what we say, but I think it's hard to monitor all the accounts on social media and all the things that children might see. So the best thing is to know that it's actually there, and that children might get mental illness, and to be aware if there is some change in your children, and to ask for help as soon as something comes up. I don't think we will be able in the future to monitor what we see and what children see, but we could monitor how we respond to their change, how to help them and how to be there for them. And some parents wouldn't be there for their children when they experience some negative aspect of social media, and children would be able to say that. So I think it starts with the home and starts with the environment that surrounds the children, that protects them from what they see. So I hope this answers your question.
Can I add something as well? Like, I think it's actually very important, like, for parents to limit, like, how exposed their children are to social media and like the events that happen around them. And so also, I feel like currently, like, there's less children who participate in school activities and like extracurricular activities or like sports and stuff than previously. And I think that's actually, it's having a very bad impact, because when we interact with other people, it's very good for our mental health, and as well, like, it helps us like avoid those negative thoughts of like murdering other people and stuff. I think it's very important for us to interact with people, and it's important as well so that kids aren't isolated, so that there's always someone with them who can help them, like offer them a platform where they can ask, like, oh, is this acceptable, is this not acceptable, because they're still children, they're still learning, like, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. I think it's very important for someone to be there for them, to offer guidance and to help them through that.
Is that enough, Rizky? Is that enough? Maybe you can unmute your microphone so I can hear you.
Yeah, that's enough. That's
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amani and Basant. Okay, one last question for you two. I think I'll go with, I'm so confused actually, but Ersa Nur Maulana, maybe you can ask your question.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
Hello. Okay.
Hi. Hi.
Hello, my name is Ersa. I'm from Bogor. Hello.
Yes.
Hello, Arsa.
Hi.
Okay. I have a question and I need a suggestion. I was depressed when I was in high school about my situation at home because my parents had divorced, and I felt everything was mess, and I asked my father to take me to a psychologist, but my father just said and asked me to be closer to God. I felt that was not the answer, so I did self-harm. I'm sorry. I'm afraid if it repeats again. So what should I do if I'm in that situation again? And are there any suggestion for me? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, first of all, I would like to say it's perfectly normal that you have went through this, and it's okay. And it's okay if you did self-harm. It was your way of coping with your depression, and no one is shaming you for this, and don't feel ashamed for it. You just didn't know better. So what will you do if you encounter another episode of depression? I would say the first solution is asking for a psychiatric help. You need to go to a psychologist, and maybe in Egypt in medical school we have a psychiatric ward which is free for anyone to go and ask for help. I don't know if it is the same in Indonesia. Maybe you could ask a medical student if their psychiatry department offers free sessions for our free sessions. And another solution would be talking to a psychologist online. There are websites who offer psychology sessions or psychiatric sessions for a cheap price or something like this. But if you cannot access a psychiatrist, if you cannot go to a psychiatrist or psychologist, what you should do? I would say you should try to seek help or support from a good friend, someone who won't shame you, or someone who wouldn't tell you to grow out of it or something like that. Someone who would listen to you when you feel like you want to talk or you want to express your thoughts or anything. Support is very important. Don't enclose on yourself. Don't stay in your room and shut everyone else outside. I would advise to keep someone who's supportive and someone who's a good friend or someone who's a family member who's good to you, close. When you feel like you want to talk, you talk to them. Actually, giving your thoughts, getting them outside your mind helps a lot. It doesn't minimize you have to take medication, but I mean, if it's not, if this is what you only get support until you can go reach to a psychologist. Maybe also, I know that when you are in depression you cannot do anything, but maybe you could reach to others who go through what you are going through, who can and see a story and read stories about people who went through depression and could overcome it and actually they are treated from depression and feel like it's just a period and it's not your life and it's gonna pass. No matter how hard it is gonna pass. So as I say, first thing is asking for help from a psychologist or a psychiatric, but if you can't, at least a support from a good friend. This is my advice for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Can I just say something? I know it's not my thing because I'm not a doctor. Because
no, it's okay. I would love to hear you.
No, because Amani and Basa, you guys are just such badasses because you're amazing and you're just like such.
Thank you.
You're poised and so strong, and I'm like, oh, they're amazing women. But then I just wanted to say one thing because it's like, and then, I just forgot her Ersa.
Yeah, Ersa.
Yeah, because
Ersa.
I just wanted to congratulate you because it's just like, I think it's so hard to show such vulnerability in front of so many people. And I just feel like it's just so beautiful because I think that's how you break stigma. It's just to like show how it's just like to show that it's normal. And that's my congratulations to you. And I just feel like as Money in all her wisdom said. She's like, seek for help and all of that. But if like if you in your room and if you're feeling all of that, and if you feel like you're going to self-harm, just like try to channel that energy into like something maybe artistic or like, I don't know, get paint or get like music or try to like write what you're feeling or try to do something artistic. I feel like that may be a way to channel your energy or something. But that's just like a teacher kind of thing. It's not a doctor point of view.
Thank you so much. I'm
Actually,
about to
it's a good
cry.
point.
Can I actually add something as well to Ersa? Like Bruno said, I'm very with him on that point. It's actually really, really important. And something else I think you should do is like when you start to feel depressed or something, I think it's a good idea for you to actually read up on depression, because the more you understand about this illness, the less control it has over you, the more like you become more understanding of why you're getting these thoughts, like why it's occurring to you. And because you're understanding of it, you're gonna avoid those setbacks like the self-harm and stuff, because obviously I can clearly see that it hurts you a lot, but it's perfectly normal. Like people go through this phase, it's perfectly normal. But I think it's actually be very, very beneficial if you read more on it and if you educate yourself about mental health in like overall. And because you suffered from depression, it's a really good idea if you go in depth into depression and you actually understand, because when you understand that it's actually out of your control, then you're going to be more accepting of yourself, and you're going to avoid like self-harm and stuff like that.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm about to cry. Thank you so much.
Oh, don't cry.
It's okay.
Thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah, me personally, I've been in your position, Ersa, and I knew that feeling when you couldn't really talk to anyone.
Anyone, yeah.
Yeah, I was in very abject situations where I couldn't. I want to cry. Okay, so skip. Okay, so congratulations for yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you
have
so
a
much,
good friend,
Ersa,
Romy. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you,
with
Ersa.
us.
Yeah.
You're very brave. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we shall move to our last speaker, which is Dia. So you can raise your hands if you want to ask questions to Dia. Okay. Dia, are you here? Are you here with us, Dia? Where's Dia? Okay, Fanny Agustina. Yes, you can ask your questions.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, my name is Fanny. I'm from Medan.
All right.
Yeah, I have a question for everyone. I don't I don't know. I have a friend that my friend is he said that he had a mental illness to us. Okay, we support him, but he always said that we are toxic, and just like we just to support him, like yeah, go to psychology or psychiatrist gitu. But he said and when he make a snapgram like that, he wants to self-harm or suicide, we always comment and say, don't do that. Like, you have a friend, you can tell to us like what's your happen tonight, or what's your story. But he always said that we can understand about him, and he said that we are toxic. So I don't know how to get there with this human because I just like we just want to support you, we just want to help you, but you just say we are toxic. So it's so yeah, it just hurt us like that. So I just want to know how to deal with this man, because he's my classmate in university. So yeah, every time I will interact with him, just that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Fanny. Dia, you may answer the question.
Hi, Fanny. Okay, thank you for the question. I think in your situation, maybe your friends like like yeah, this.
Sorry, we can't really hear you. Can you repeat it, Dia?
Oh,
sorry, I can't hear.
Yeah.
Hey, you
Okay.
Hi.
Yeah, you may answer the question.
Okay. I think the mental illness itself is not something that can be self-diagnosed by that. And what you've done by telling him to go to psychiatry or psychology is the best step, I think. And maybe in the level that you already feel bothered by his action, maybe you can like what ya? It's not your responsibility to make everyone happy, right? And I think that's back on your friend's willingness. Is he want to tadi apa nih like hints nih is like if he's not the one to change by self, it will be hard to think.
Okay.
Wait.
I get it, but I know that's not my responsibility. But sometimes he asks to us about how can I deal with with my mental illness, and we get some advice to him. And I just don't know. He's like yeah, make a snapgram, say that we are so toxic. I don't know, but okay. I know what's your problem. I know because he always said about her disgrace, her family disgrace on Snapgram, like that lah. I just yeah. If you don't want to, you want to hear about our advice, why you ask us like that, just like that? You just I don't know.
I think if I can help you to answer, I think you can reassure to your friend whether he's really okay or not, because I don't know, like people are different, and maybe you can personally approach him and ask him to tell him to go to a psychiatrist, or yeah, just like what you said. And I think that's really important, because people like your friend, they need attention. I mean, like, they really need the attention from us as his closest friends. I think I know it's not our responsibility, but maybe we can try to approach him to ask him whether he's really okay or not, because yeah, maybe we can pay more attention to him, just to make sure that he's okay. Okay. Is it enough?
Yeah, it's
okay.
enough.
Thank you so much, Fanny. I really hope your friend will do well in the future. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Dia. Next question for Dia. Maybe Ayu Cindy Octaviani. Hi. Hi, Ayu Cindy. You can ask your question. Are you here with us?
Hi.
Hi.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Very clear.
Okay. I'm Cindy. I would like to ask about the ongoing mental health issue in Indonesia.
Okay.
As we know, lately many young people in Indonesia using mental health issues as a tools to get attention or to gain follower on social media. So my question is, what should we do, or what is the best way to respond to that, and what is the best way to tell him or her not to do so by not offending him or her? Thank you.
That's a very good question. Yeah, you may answer the question.
Hello?
Yes.
Sorry, can you repeat it once again? Okay. Lately, many young people in Indonesia using mental health issues as a tool to get attention on social media. So, what should we do, or what is the best way to respond to that? And what is the best way to tell him or her not to do so by not offending him or her? Can you get my question?
Did you get the question, Dia?
Okay, I get the question. So,
Okay. Yes, we can hear you.
oh,
Yes.
can, oh, think,
Maybe the question is unstable. So yeah, you're not really audible. Can you test your microphone? Just yeah. I think we're encountering some troubles. So please turn on your microphone again. Dia. Yeah. Okay, answer the question. Okay, wait, I think you're not really audible.
oh,
Yeah.
sorry, can you?
Yeah, but your voice is, we can't really hear you. You're not really audible. Can you speak louder? Can you speak louder?
Oh, yeah. No. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, can you, okay. Okay, so did you get, did you get her question? Yeah, so she's asking, okay, maybe I can repeat the question for you. Yeah, maybe I can repeat the question for you in Indonesian. So Ayu nanya, kalau misalnya, I'm really sorry, Bruno, Basant, Anamani, so I will speak in Indonesian. Tadi Ayu nanya, kalau misalkan zaman sekarang ini banyak anak-anak muda yang menjadikan mental health as a tool sebagai alat untuk menambah followers gitu. Terus what's your perspective on that gitu? Feel free to jawab pakai bahasa Indonesia aja. It's okay kok. Tadi aku udah nanya Imbang dari tim juga. Oke. Dia kayaknya kamu agak kurang kedengeran deh. Kamu can you speak louder? Kamu bisa agak kencengan dikit nggak? Can you try to speak again? Because we can't really hear you. Feel free to use Indonesian. I'll help you to translate it to English. Or maybe you want to answer the questions by chat. It's also okay. Okay. Dia say that she got a trouble with the connection. Is it okay if I skip your session to another speaker? Is that okay? Because we only have 12 minutes left. It's okay? Okay. So maybe Basant or Amani or Bruno, maybe you can help to answer the question. What do you think? What's your perspectives towards this situation? Maybe Amani? Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna, yeah, from my opinion, I think that someone who is pretending that he is depressed or that he is anxious for attention is some sort of illness itself. It means that he needs help and he needs someone there to be with him. I also think that this comes not from just a need for attention, but also from lack of knowledge of what is the nature of depression and anxiety. If someone who is sad for a little bit, he thinks that he is depressed, he's not just sad, or he's anxious before an exam, he thinks that he maybe have generalized anxiety disorder and not just anxiety before an exam or something like this. So I think that the best solution for this misconceptions or for this use of ill use of those terms is spreading knowledge. If you want to solve this without offending them, is to spread knowledge with them. If you see someone who is pretending to be depressed and you think it's not a true depression, and we don't know, actually you cannot say that he is depressed or not. The doctor only says that he can make a diagnosis. So the best thing to do with him is to spread knowledge, and maybe when he knows better what is the symptoms of depression and what is the symptoms of anxiety, he knows that what he's having right now is not a depressive episode, it's just a melancholic feeling or pure sadness or something like this. And actually spreading knowledge would help someone else who have some symptoms of depression or anxiety who doesn't know about it. It would help him to start see that maybe he is complaining of something and he needs to seek a psychiatrist help. So I think the best solution is spreading knowledge without offending anyone, without being, without feeling like you have to know this, or you should know this, or you should stop saying this, or spread knowledge and try to approach that person and connect with them. And if he is a close friend or something like this, pretending to be depressed is not actually normal. And so that's my opinion. So I would like to hear what you guys also think. So
thank you so much, Amani. That's a very great point. Maybe Bruno or Basant, do you want to add something to the question, maybe?
Yeah, well, I will. Basant, do you want to say something first?
No, it's fine. You can go first.
No, I will. I just wanted to say, because I think it's kind of like, I would just add to that, that metaphor when you kind of like board an airplane and they give you like the safety instructions of like putting your oxygen mask first and then you offer assistance. I think it kind of goes on that kind. I think that metaphor kind of helps us to analyze some situations. I think you kind of need to be healthy to offer someone assistance, especially when it's like mental health. Because then if it's sometimes I think like toxic people in a way to be like mean or anything, but like I feel like if there is a person who is constantly dragging or like sucking all of your energy, not in like a mystical way, but like just like I'm sad and I'm like, oh, I had a horrible day, and you're like, yeah, but let's go to the mall, and they're like, yeah, but it's sad, and then it's like constantly something negative, then I feel like you should probably like shield yourself a little bit and kind of choose the times when you're gonna be there and when you're probably just gonna go like, oh, but maybe you could like seek for a doctor, and then you're gonna go like, oh, today I'm gonna talk to you, but maybe it's gonna be over the phone. And then the other day you're gonna go like, oh, maybe you can listen to this fun song. And then the other day you're gonna be like, okay, we can meet, but for like 5 minutes because I have, don't like ghost your friend, but choose to like doze a little bit, like the times that you're gonna like meet them, just so you're not drowning at just as much as them. That's kind of, I'm not saying for you to just like leave them alone, but maybe just like care for your safety as much as you're caring for theirs. That's just what I'm saying. So you don't both sink. That's just what I'm saying.
All right.
I hope that's clear. I'm not saying for you to just kick them off the cliff.
That's actually very clear. Maybe Basant, if you want to say something, maybe you want to say
you pretty much covered my point. Like I was gonna say, like you can like offer them help or something, and then if they don't want to take the step, then maybe like you can agree with them to take them to a doctor or something. And then if they refuse and to you it's just exhausting, then yeah, you do have to shield yourself, because you have to protect yourself as well. It's not your responsibility. Like everyone, we have to all take care of ourselves before we take care of others.
Oh, that's a very good sentence to sum it all up. I want to thank all the speakers, Bruno, Basant, Amani, and also Dia, for taking up your time to discuss and sharing with us. That's a very fruitful and great discussions. And maybe each of you want to say a closing statement. You can deliver your closing statement. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to say that I'm really happy to be offered this opportunity to be part of this event. I'm really grateful and glad, and thank you. And I hope you had fun, and you're gonna leave with so much information more than before. And that's it. Thank you.
Exactly. You want to say something, Bruno, Basant, and Dia? Okay, no. Maybe Basant. Oh, okay, yes.
Basa, you go.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, so who's first?
Okay, well, I just want to say, I think Amani said that, and I that's one thing that, I also went through depression. I'm pretty sure that I might go through depression again someday in my life. That it's a period of time, and I feel like when we're going through it, it feels like it is going to be forever. Because when we're going through it, it's hard to see far beyond, because it feels like we're just going through, we're in the middle of this mess and it's just like too dark, but there is beyond, and there is light outside, and it's hard to see, but there is. I think we have to trust it, even if it's hard to see. And apparently I like metaphors with airplanes. It's kind of like you're in a turbulent zone, but then there is always a time when you get out of it, and then there's like a clear sky, and then there's like a blue sky, and the sun is shining. So that's kind of how it is, I feel. And you're never alone, because you're not. Think about it. Just like in this call, there were like 1,000 people. And, think about, even if you feel like you're alone, you're not, because just like in this call, there were 1,000 people interested in like helping out and thinking about the matter. So yeah, we're all together, we're all intertwined. So yeah, we got it.
We got it.
Yeah.
Maybe Bessa, you want to say something?
I just want to say, like, it is a perfectly normal phase. Like, I think everyone goes through depression or anxiety at one point of their life. But it's really important to remember that when we are feeling down or when we need help, we have to seek like advice from someone, and like reach out to anyone, like whether it be a friend or a family member or a doctor. Like we have to remember that we need to reach out, and that people aren't just gonna automatically realize that there's something going on. Like we have to sometimes express those feelings. And also, I think it's very important that we educate ourselves and that we actually read up on these topics, even if it's just like very basic information, so that we can help ourselves and we can help others around us.
That's very nice. Maybe Dia, you want to say something, or?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to say something, yeah, to close this
Yes.
event.
I'm really grateful for the opportunity that can like. Thank you for the opportunity that get to a good speaker like them. And I'm really sorry because I think my connection is good, and I'm sorry if I can tell what I gonna tell clearly, like the people. And for everyone who's there with me, thank you. Don't forget to be healthy. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dia, for your closing statement. Thank you so much, speakers, for your time, your amazing knowledge, insights, you name it. Thank you so much for Imbang Diri team for having me. I'm so happy to be given the opportunity to moderate your very first international seminar. I'm very glad. So I think, yeah, go back to Imbang Diri team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. We're now, okay. You can find your certificate by clicking on this link. Maybe you can screenshot this just to make sure. Okay. Maksimal pengisian di tanggal 13 Juni 2020 pukul 10. Feel free to use either English or Indonesian. So yeah. Okay. So mungkin teman-teman bisa di screenshot biar nggak hilang linknya. Oke, mungkin ada dari tim Imbang Diri mau ngomong untuk closing statement. Gimana? Atau we're enough, we're good? All right, I think we're good. And to all of you, don't forget to sign up for the upcoming event of Imbang Diri, sharing with us batch 3, which will be held on June 19 at 7:30 p.m. So don't forget to sign up. And thank you so much for the opportunity. And I'll see you guys on the next event, maybe of Imbang Diri team. Goodbye. Thank you, Bruno. Thank you, Besan. Thank you, Amani. Thank you, Dia. That's a very great pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
It's a very great pleasure to be able to discuss with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.